The empire crumbled. Empires always do. Yet, the echo of one man's internal struggle, a Roman emperor tasked with holding it all together, still resonates. His name was Marcus Aurelius. He faced plagues, wars, and betrayals, not with anger or despair, but with a stark, unyielding logic. He wrote not for the history books, but for himself, and in his private meditations he laid bare truths that cut through the noise of our modern lives with brutal clarity. We are drowning in a sea of noise, a relentless tide of notifications, opinions, and manufactured urgency. In this storm, the ancient principles of stoicism, particularly the hard-won wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, offer a compass and a shield. His philosophy is not about suppressing emotion, but about understanding it, about mastering the self so that external circumstances lose their power. It's about recognizing what is within our control and what is not, and dedicating our energy solely to the former. This is the path to an unshakable inner citadel, a fortress of the mind impervious to the chaos of the world. Consider the modern man. He is often adrift, buffeted by the demands of a society that values outward appearances over inner substance. He is told to seek validation externally, to chase fleeting pleasures, to react impulsively to every perceived slight or inconvenience. The result is a profound sense of dissatisfaction, a gnawing emptiness that no amount of consumption or digital distraction can fill. He is a soldier without discipline, a king without his throne, a man lost in the wilderness of his own unexamined desires and fears. Marcus Aurelius, in his role as Emperor of Rome, was tasked with guiding an empire through crisis. He battled barbarians on the frontiers, managed corrupt officials within, and endured personal loss. Yet, his private writings, the Meditations, reveal a man wrestling not with external threats, but with his own impulses, his own judgments, his own mortality. He understood that the true battleground is not the field of war, but the landscape of the human mind. What would he tell us today? He would tell us, first and foremost, to master our judgments. It is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. This is the cornerstone of Stoic thought. We do not suffer from the events themselves, but from the meaning we ascribe to them. A minor setback is not a catastrophe unless we label it as such. An insult is only a wound if we permit it to penetrate our armor of reason. This requires constant vigilance. It means scrutinizing our immediate reactions, identifying the assumptions and beliefs that fuel our distress. Is this situation truly as dire as I believe? Is this person's intent as malicious as I assume? The emperor's answer would be to question relentlessly, to strip away the emotional overlay and expose the bare facts. What has actually happened? What is objectively true? Secondly, he would urge us to accept what we cannot change. The Stoics called this amor fati, a love of fate. This is not passive resignation, but active acceptance. It is understanding that the universe operates according to its own laws, and that resistance to these immutable principles only leads to suffering. The river flows to the sea. A man must flow with the current of life, not fight against it. He would tell us to focus on our duty, on our role in the cosmic order. Whatever your station, fulfill it with virtue and integrity. For the emperor, this meant ruling justly. For the soldier, it meant fighting bravely. For each of us, it means acting with reason, justice, courage, and temperance in our own lives. Our purpose is to contribute to the common good, to be a useful part of the whole, much like a hand is part of the body. He would also teach us the value of impermanence. Everything we see is temporary, and soon we too shall be dust. This contemplation of mortality is not morbid. It is liberating. It frees us from the tyranny of what others think, from the fear of loss, from the excessive attachment to worldly possessions or accolades. Knowing that all things pass, we can engage with them more fully, more authentically, and with less anxiety. And then, the crucial lesson for the modern man. The power of inner silence. In a world clamoring for attention, The ability to retreat into oneself, to engage in quiet contemplation, is a superpower. It is in silence that we can hear our own thoughts, untainted by external influence. It is in silence that we can process our experiences, gain perspective, and find clarity. This is where true strength is forged, not in the noise of the arena, but in the quiet solitude of the soul. This leads us to a fundamental question. How does a man build this inner citadel when the world outside is constantly trying to tear him down? The answer lies not in outward action alone, but in the internal discipline of our thoughts and judgments. It is a daily, hourly practice of self-awareness and rational evaluation. It is the conscious choice to respond to the world from a place of reason rather than reaction. The emperor understood that external events are indifferent. They are neither good nor bad in themselves. It is our interpretation that assigns them value. A loss of status is not inherently bad. It is simply a change in circumstances. A betrayal is painful, but the true damage is done by our judgment that we have been wronged, that our expectations have been violated. We give these events power by our emotional attachment to them. Marcus Aurelius would tell us to see things as they are, stripped of all embellishment and exaggeration. A banquet is merely a collection of food. A woman's beauty is merely the curve of her form and the hue of her skin. A life well lived is not marked by grand gestures, but by steady adherence to virtue. Break things down to their essence. See the raw material. This practice, known as dissection, allows us to perceive reality with greater clarity and detachment. He would also remind us of our interconnectedness. We are not isolated islands, but parts of a larger whole. Our actions, thoughts, and emotions have ripple effects. To act with virtue is to benefit not only oneself, but also the community. To act with vice is to diminish oneself and to harm others. This understanding fosters a sense of responsibility and purpose beyond mere self-gratification. So, what is the core of Marcus Aurelius' message for us today? It is an unyielding call to self-mastery. It is the recognition that our true freedom and happiness lie not in external circumstances, but in the disciplined cultivation of our inner lives. It is the understanding that we are the architects of our own experience through the judgments we make and the virtues we practice. He faced his own mortality with calm acceptance. He knew that his reign, his life, and all his achievements would eventually fade into memory, then into oblivion. This perspective is not meant to breed despair, but to instill a profound sense of urgency and purpose. If all is transient, then what truly matters is how we choose to live this fleeting moment. Are we living in accordance with reason and virtue? Are we contributing to the common good? Are we mastering ourselves? The emperor's greatest battle was always within. He sought not to conquer external enemies, but to conquer the unruly impulses of his own mind. He found that the greatest strength was not in commanding legions, but in commanding oneself. This internal dominion is the ultimate form of power, and it is available to every man, regardless of his station or circumstance. The noise of the world will persist. The distractions will multiply. But the disciplined mind, like a well-fortified city, can withstand the siege. It can maintain its peace and order, regardless of the storms raging outside. This is the Stoic promise, not a life free from hardship, but a life lived with unwavering inner strength and rational clarity, a life where a man is the master of his own domain, which is his mind. The emperor's wisdom, etched in the quiet hours of his reign, still guides the way. It reminds us that the real empire worth conquering is the one within. This is the profound truth. The world presses in, demanding reaction, demanding engagement, demanding a piece of your soul. But the Stoic path, illuminated by the emperor, teaches that true power lies not in yielding to the external onslaught, but in fortifying the internal citadel. It is in the quiet discipline of our judgments, the acceptance of fate, and the unwavering commitment to virtue that we find our unshakable foundation. The chaos outside is inevitable. The peace within is a choice. Choose wisely.